A brand new Minecraft video, and today we are playing on Guild SMP Minecraft Pocket Edition survival multiplayer experience. But what we're doing today is a little bit different, and I haven't done one of these videos on this series yet, but this is what I call a talkie episode. Okay, so sometimes in my survival series I like to just talk about something while doing something a little bit boring but we need to get done. Like for instance, today that's going to be mining, because we could really benefit from some mining. But while we do that, we're going to be talking about a topic that I'm pretty strong about, and I feel like it's something that you would know a lot more about me specifically if you like follow me on Twitter, and I have other social medias as well, which you should definitely follow me on, which are all linked down below in the description, as well as other YouTube channels that I post videos on. But today what we're going to be talking about is we're talking about hard work ethic and such along those lines. Okay, so let's dive right on into it, because it's just something that I'm strong about and I'm really passionate about, whether it's my own work ethic or my own hard work, or it's promoting other people to work hard and increase their work ethic and, you know, flex their creative muscles or flex their whatever muscle they have, so to speak, figuratively or literally. But let's go ahead and get started here. Let's dive right into it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, okay, is comparison, because this is the biggest thing I notice with people. Okay, people like to compare their work to others. Okay, and I totally get it. It's human nature to compare, and I'm sure everybody has, including myself at some point. But recently, and probably for the past, like, I don't know, good 6 months or maybe even longer, I've been making a really strong effort not to compare anything I do with anybody else. Why is that? Just because comparison is a really dark path when you actually lead down it, because you either compare yourself to someone who, quote unquote, is way less successful, and then that makes you have an ego or feel like you accomplished more, or that you did everything that's there, or there's nothing in the future that you can grow from it because you're already at the top, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, you either compare yourself to that, or you compare yourself to someone else who's done, quote unquote, so much more than you that you feel like you've accomplished nothing. And neither of those, whether it's having ego or accomplishing nothing, are good and healthy for you and your mindset. That's just not the way you want to do it. So what I would say is, don't compare your work ethic, anything along those lines, like what you've accomplished, to other people, because it's just not like the right route to go about it. It's just like the only person you should be comparing yourself to is yourself, straight up. And a lot of people don't get that concept. Okay, it's very difficult. But if you compare yourself to the goals you've set, that is the healthiest way, in my opinion, to go about doing things. So set a goal and try to accomplish the goal, and if you accomplish it, you can compare that to you saying you were going to accomplish it. And if you didn't, well, that's unfortunate, but then at least you know where to improve. Okay, so there's definitely that element of it. Like, I personally set goals and I do my best to complete them all, and then whenever, you know, like, I set a goal, and whenever it happens, I'll look back and compare whether I could have done it faster, better, or not, because comparing to yourself is a lot healthier overall. Okay, now another thing that kind of leads into this is, I have this saying that I say a lot, specifically on Twitter, where I say hard work pays off. Now, I'm not the only person to say this, but it's definitely a phrase that I say and I repeat a lot, and it's almost like a thing that I like to say so regularly, you could call it almost like a life motto. Okay, and a lot of people don't seem to understand why I say it, and I'm gonna go ahead and explain that here, just because I think it's quite important. Okay, and this is the thing that I think everybody can live by. Okay, hard work does pay off, and so does smart work, and we're gonna dive into smart work versus hard work in a little bit here. But hard work pays off. Okay, let's go back to that. So essentially, it's true. If you eventually work hard enough at something, it'll happen. Okay, now doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, well, that's insanity for you, and that's just straight chaos. But if you keep on working harder and keep evolving and keep growing, eventually you'll hit your goal. Okay, it's just how it works. And the thing that a lot of people get wrong about this is, if you're comparing your speed of success to someone else's, that's not, like, the hard work pays off does not mean that you'll get success at the same speed someone else did. For instance, some YouTubers hit 1 million subscribers in, you know, 2 weeks, while other people it takes like 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very, like, far and spread goal that, like, you shouldn't really compare your progress to other people on, just because it takes different amounts of lengths of time for different people. Okay, so hard work will pay off eventually, but when will it pay off is basically like a luck-based factor for the most part, as well as obviously some other factors thrown into the mix. But primarily luck will play a big part in that. But if you keep working hard, eventually you will see results, in my opinion. And that's something that, of course, people have argued with me on in the past. But I think as long as you're like trying to improve your craft or your trade or your skill or whatever, and you're not just doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result every time you do it, then I think eventually you'll get success. Okay. And here we go. This is another bit of advice that I've gotten from a bunch of creators in the space, because I talk to a lot of different creators, full-time, little creators all over the place. I talk to a lot of different people in the space, and I just love getting to communicate with everybody and surrounding myself with creative people. Okay. And there's this thing that someone told me recently, and I strongly resonate with it. I think it's something that I want to pass on to everybody else. No matter what your goal is, whether it's YouTube, whether it's to become a doctor or a teacher or whatever your goal is in life, and maybe it's not even something as big as that. Maybe the goal is just to, I don't know, get an A on the next test or something. Whatever your goal is, okay, we're gonna go ahead and dive right into this. Now, there's working hard and there's working smart. Okay, working hard is important, and having a strong work ethic is extremely valuable, but working smart is way more important for sustained success. Okay, like realistically, if you want to have a balanced lifestyle, you can't study for that test most likely for 90 hours to get an A. You just don't have the time to do that. You can't study for 90 hours. Now, if you had a really strong work ethic, you could, but then your life balance gets thrown off, and you want to try to maintain balance. You know, you got to focus on your health at some point, and the other people in your life who matter. And there's just so many other things that you have to focus on. But if you work smart, you won't need 90 hours to get an A. You know, if you study ways that are effective for you, and you focus on the material you need, and you don't waste time and get distracted, then it won't really matter too much if you don't study for 90 hours, because you'll only need maybe 4 hours of effective smart studying, which is working smart. Okay, and this is so true. So many people like to break their back doing things in life that, well, you don't need to do to be working hard or smart to attain your goal. Like, you don't need to do some crazy things that people do to get success. For instance, like this whole concept of like literally never stopping working. That's not a healthy concept at all. Like, as much as you love your work, you do need to balance everything, and or work being like the stuff that's necessary to get to your goal. Okay, like you need to balance it all. So you can't usually throw yourself all in, but if you can, then go for it. But sometimes you can't, and you just got to understand that, you know, life has to carry on while you work towards achieving your goals as well. But if you work smart, you'll eventually be able to get there too, I think. And I think a combination of working smart and working hard is quite important, because you don't want to work so smart that you like are lazy, but you don't want to work so hard that everything you're doing is basically for nothing, because it's not smart and it's just kind of like throwing things at the wall and seeing what'll work. That's not exactly the best route either. Okay, it just doesn't usually create sustained success. Okay, and of course, some other things about hard work and goals and all this thing about accomplishments. Okay, you need to be setting goals. Goals are huge. Goal setting is a big life skill that is honestly so helpful. Short-term goals, long-term goals, and a lot of things people get wrong about goals. Okay, goals don't necessarily need a date of accomplishment. A lot of people like to set these goals where they have like, I need to do this by this date, or I need to have this amount of something by this time. And those are just not, in my opinion, usually not the best goals to set. Can you set those goals? Yes. Are there better ways of phrasing it? 100% in my opinion. Okay, I think the phrasing of a goal is super important. Okay, like for instance, you need to be realistic with your goals. Okay, so we'll use an example here of money, just because why not? It's just numbers and it's really basic. Okay, so someone who has $4 in the bank sets a goal of, I want to have $4 million in my bank. That's what their goal is. Okay, now realistically, there's obviously exceptions, but realistically, is that person going to get 4 million in the bank in the next week if that's what they set their goal as? Absolutely not. There's a very small, slight chance of that happening. So you got to phrase your goal properly. Now, I would personally phrase that goal along the lines of something like, I want to work hard enough and smart enough that eventually I will obtain $4 million in the bank. Something along those lines, obviously. Now, you can have that goal, but unless you're actively pursuing that, and that's a big goal there, going from $4 to $4 million in the bank. So you're going to need to have a crazy plan, and you're going to need to set other goals that are smaller throughout that. So, you know, to get to 4 million, well, first you're going to need 1 million. You're also going to need a business, obviously, or something where you generate money. You're going to need a job. You're going to need, most likely, you know, people along the way to help you out with different financial things, and you're going to need all sorts of different stuff. So you just need to be conscious of setting these other goals as well. Like setting smaller goals, there's nothing wrong with setting small goals while you're on the route to a big goal. As a matter of fact, it's actually a very healthy thing, and a lot of people recommend setting goals, because just setting goals in general is helpful, but setting a small goal to help you get to your big goal will also make you feel more accomplished, because you are taking steps towards your big life goal or your big goal or whatever it is, which is definitely important. Now, I know this episode has been a little bit of a ramble, because to be honest, this is just something I'm really passionate about, and I probably didn't explain something super well. So if I didn't, go ahead and drop a comment down below, and I'll go ahead and explain. I would love to have a discussion about this, or a debate or whatever. Let me know what you guys think about everything I said today. I'm really curious to know. But if you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a daily gaming upload. And let me know what other topics I should talk about in other Let's Talk episodes on Guild SMP if that's what you want to see. So thank you all so much for watching. Bye.